Hello, everyone, and welcome back to World of English. I'm your host, Ina.
Hi, everyone. It is so wonderful to be here with you today. It's so good to be here again.
Allie, I'm happy to see you. How was your morning? Did you have a good breakfast?
Oh, my morning was good. Yeah, good. I had some tea and bread. But honestly, I feel like I always say the same thing. Good. That's it.
I know what you mean. And you know what? That's exactly why today's topic is so important.
Really? What are we talking about today?
Today, we are going to learn how to talk about your day, not just good or bad, but real, natural conversations. When someone asks, "How was your day?" you'll have so many ways to answer.
Oh, that's perfect. Because honestly, sometimes someone asks me and I want to say more, but I don't know the words. I just smile and say fine. And then silence.
Exactly. And that silence can feel a little awkward, right? But after today, you'll be able to keep the conversation going. You'll sound more confident and natural.
That sounds exactly like what I need. I'm ready to learn.
Then let's get started. But first, before we jump into the lesson, we have a small favor to ask our listeners. You know, Allie, we love making this podcast, but there's one thing that really helps us reach more learners like you.
Oh, what's that?
It's when our listeners take just a few seconds to support the show. So before we dive deeper into today's lesson, we want to ask you for a small favor.
Yes, and I want to explain why. When you like this episode, it tells other people that this content is helpful, so more English learners can find us. And when you subscribe, you never miss a new episode.
Exactly. Think of it like this. You are helping someone else learn English. Maybe your friend or your cousin is also trying to improve. By sharing this podcast with them, you become their teacher too.
I love that. So, listeners, please hit that like button right now. If you haven't already, click subscribe. And if you know someone who struggles to talk about their day, share this episode with them.
We really appreciate you. And now, let's get into today's lesson. Ollie, tell me honestly, when someone asks you, "How was your day?" what do you usually say?
Honestly, good. Or if it was a hard day, not bad. That's pretty much it.
Okay, that's a perfect starting point. So let's begin by giving you more words to choose from and make your answers much more natural. Okay, so let's start with some simple phrases you can use instead of just good or bad. Listen to these three and tell me what you notice.
I'm listening.
Number 1, it was great. Number 2, it was okay. Number 3, it was a bit tiring.
Oh, I know these words. Great is better than good. Okay is fine, and tiring means it made me tired.
Exactly. And here's the thing, each one gives a different feeling. Let's practice. Ollie, imagine your morning. What would you say?
Okay, my morning was good. Wait, it was great because I had extra time to relax.
That was a perfect sentence. You used "it was great" and you added a reason. Now, what if your morning was very busy?
It was a bit tiring. I had to wake up early and help my family.
See how natural that sounds? Now, let me ask you something. Do you know the difference between "how was your day" and "how was your day going"?
Oh, I think one is about the past and one is about now?
Exactly. "How was your day" is for when the day is finished, at night or after work. "How is your day going" is for during the day, maybe in the afternoon. You can answer with "it's going well" or "it's going okay."
So if someone asks me right now in the middle of the day, I say, it's going well?
Yes, and your tone of voice matters too. If I say "it was great" with a big smile, it sounds exciting. If I say "it was a bit tiring" with a small sigh, people understand I had a long day.
So even the same words can sound different if I change my voice.
Exactly. Let's try one together. I'll ask you, and you answer with feeling. Ollie, how was your morning?
It was a bit tiring.
Beautiful. Now people know exactly how you feel. So these simple phrases, "it was great," "it was okay," "it was a bit tiring," they are your new tools.
I already feel better. But Ina, what if I want to say more than just one sentence? How do I add details?
That's a great question, and that's exactly what we'll learn next.
Okay, Ina, I have a question. I can say it was great or it was okay, but sometimes I want to say more. I want to tell people why it was great or what actually happened. How do I do that?
That is such a good question, Ollie, and this is the secret to sounding like a natural speaker. When you add details, who you met, where you went, what you did, suddenly your answer becomes a real story.
So I don't just say it was great, I say something like,
Let me give you the building blocks. Listen to these 3 sentence starters. I met, I went to, I worked on.
okay, those are simple. I know those words.
Now let's put them together. Imagine your day. You can say, it was a good day. I met my friend, we went to the park, I worked on a project for my class.
So I use and to connect them.
Exactly. Or you can use but if something was different. Listen, it was a good day. I met my friend, but we couldn't stay long because it started raining.
Oh, I like that. But adds a little surprise.
Yes, and here's another important thing. When we talk about our day, we usually use the past tense. So instead of I meet, we say I met. Instead of I go, we say I went. Instead of I work, we say I worked.
Right, because the day is finished.
Exactly. Let's practice together. I'll ask you about your day, and you try to use 2 or 3 details. Ready?
Ready.
Ollie, how was your morning?
Okay, it was a busy day. I went to the market in the morning, I met my uncle there, and then I worked on my English homework in the afternoon.
That was perfect. You used I went, I met, and I worked on. And you used and to connect your ideas. Now someone listening can picture your whole day.
It felt good to say more than one sentence.
Let me try now. I'll tell you about my day using details, and you tell me if you can picture it. Yesterday was a quiet day for me. I stayed home, I read a book, and I cooked lunch for my family. It was simple, but it was nice.
I can see it. You stayed home, you read, you cooked. It sounds peaceful.
Exactly. See how adding details changes everything? You don't need a big story, just 2 or 3 details make your answer come alive.
I'm starting to feel more confident already. So now I have simple phrases. It was great, it was okay, it was a bit tiring, and I can add details with I met, I went to, I worked on.
Exactly. And there's one more thing that makes your answers even stronger. It's a small word, but it changes everything.
What is it?
We'll talk about that next. It's the word because. Ollie, you've learned to say, it was great, and add details like I met my friend or I went to the market. But there's one word that makes your answer even stronger. It turns a simple statement into a complete, confident response.
What word is that?
The magic word is because. Listen to the difference. If I say, yesterday was a good day, that's fine. But if I say, yesterday was a good day because I met my friend after a long time.
Now you know why it was good. It has meaning. Oh, I see. So because gives the reason. It answers the question why.
Exactly. And when you give a reason, people feel like they really understand your day. Let me show you more examples. It was a tiring day because I woke up very early. It was a nice day because the weather was beautiful. It was a difficult day because I had a lot of work to finish.
I notice you can use because after any of the phrases we learned. It was great, it was okay, it was tiring, and then explain why.
Yes. And here's another thing. When you give a reason, the other person can ask a natural follow-up question, like, oh, what happened? Or why was that?
So it keeps the conversation going. I say my answer with because, and then the other person asks more.
Exactly. Let's practice. I'll ask you about your day, and you give me an answer with because. Ready?
Ready.
Allie, how was your day yesterday?
It was a good day because I finished my work early, so I had time to help my mother at home.
That was a beautiful answer. You gave the reason, and then you added a little more detail with so. That sounds very natural.
I'm starting to feel like I can actually have a real conversation now.
You absolutely can. And here's something interesting. Sometimes people will ask you directly for the reason. They might say, why? Or what made it good? and now you know how to answer.
So if someone asks, why was it tiring? I can say, it was tiring because I had 3 classes in a row.
Perfect. You're doing so well. Now, let me ask you something. What if someone asks about your day and nothing special happened? What if it was just a normal, regular day?
Oh, that's a good question. What do I say then?
Ina, I have a real question. We've learned all these phrases. It was great. It was tiring. I met someone. I went somewhere. But what if nothing special happened? What if my day was just normal?
That is such an important question, Allie. And honestly, most days are normal days, right? We don't have something exciting happening every single day.
Exactly. So if someone asks me, how was your day? And I say, it was great, but actually nothing happened, it feels like I'm pretending.
You're absolutely right. And here's the good news. There are beautiful, natural phrases for normal days too. And these phrases are actually very common in English conversations.
Really? What are they?
Let me give you 3 simple ones. Number 1, it was pretty quiet. Number 2, nothing special. Number 3, just a usual day.
Nothing special. I like that. It's honest.
Yes, and it's completely polite. People understand. Listen to how natural it sounds. How is your day? Oh, nothing special, just a usual day.
So I don't have to make up a story. I can just say it was quiet.
Exactly. And sometimes you can add a small detail to make it friendly, like this. It was pretty quiet. I just stayed home and relaxed. Or, nothing special, just worked and came home.
I see. So even a normal day can sound nice if I add one small detail.
Yes, let me show you a conversation. Imagine 2 friends talking. How was your day? It was pretty quiet, honestly. Nothing special. I just did some reading and made lunch. What about you?
Oh, I like that. The person didn't pretend. They said it was quiet, and then they asked the other person back, what about you?
Yes, and that's another important point. When someone asks about your day, you can answer and then ask them back. It makes the conversation friendly and balanced.
So I can say, it was a normal day, nothing special. What about you?
Perfect. That's a very natural way to keep the conversation going. Allie, let's practice one more time. I'll ask you about your day, and I want you to tell me it was a normal day. Allie, how was your day today?
It was pretty quiet, honestly. Nothing special. I went to class, then I came home and helped my sister with her homework. Just a usual day.
That was excellent. You used pretty quiet, nothing special, and just a usual day. And you added one small detail. Now you sound like a confident English speaker.
I feel so much better now. I used to worry that if I didn't have an exciting day, I had nothing to say. But now I know even a quiet day can be a good conversation.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of learning these phrases. You're not just learning words, you're learning how to connect with people naturally.
Allie, before we finish, let's take a moment to remember what we learned today. You've come so far in just one episode.
I feel like I learned so much. Let's see if I can remember everything.
Let's do a quick recap together. I'll start and you finish. Ready?
Ready.
First, instead of just saying good or bad, we learned simple phrases like,
It was great. It was okay. It was a bit tiring.
perfect. Then we learned how to add details by saying who, what, where. So we can use
I met, I went to, I worked on, and connect them with and or but.
yes. And we learned to use the past tense. I met, I went, I worked. Then we added the magic word because to give reasons.
It was a good day because, and that makes the conversation go longer.
Exactly. And finally, we learned that it's okay to have a normal day. We can say,
Nothing special, just a usual day. It was pretty quiet.
you remembered everything. See how much you've learned? Now, instead of 1 or 2 words, you have a whole toolbox of phrases to talk about your day.
I really do. I feel so much more confident now. Ina, this was exactly what I needed.
I'm so happy to hear that. And now it's time for our listeners to practice.
Yes. What should they do?
Here's your homework, and it's simple. In the comments below, answer this question. How was your day today? But here's the challenge. Use at least 2 of the phrases we learned today. Maybe say, it was a bit tiring because, or Nothing special,
And don't forget to use because if you can.
Yes, we will read your answers, and we might even share some of them in the next episode. This is how you really learn, by practicing and using the language.
And if you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who also wants to improve their English. You never know. Your friend might be struggling to talk about their day too.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for listening, for learning, and for being part of our World of English family.
It was a great episode today because we learned so much together.
I see what you did there. Until next time, take care and keep practicing.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. See you next time.